Welcome back to my lecture series. This is Muttaminal, Assistant Professor at the Department of Agricultural Engineering. Today we'll see the topic on radioactive effects of greenhouse gases that comes under the unit Earth's Climate System under the subject Climate Change and Adaptation for the students of final year 7th semester. Before going into the session, let us have a small recap on the previous class which we have seen. That is, we have seen about what is ozone, what are the objectives, what are the layers that is available at the ozone, what is ozone depleting gases, and how the greenhouse effect has been caused, what are the reasons that has been made the greenhouse gases to be in increased state, and how we can prevent ourselves. Today we'll see what is the main source of this greenhouse effect and what is the radioactive effects of greenhouse gases. So here, as I have shown here, at the composition of Earth's atmosphere, the most Earth atmosphere has been major gases is available is of oxygen and nitrogen and also argon and others. As you guys can see here, nitrogen comes under the ratio of 78%, whereas the oxygen is available at the ratio of 20%. Similarly, argon is available for 0.3 and the remaining percentage is for the other gases. Usually, the trace gases that are available at the atmosphere is water vapor, which is the source that has been got from us as a natural source. The second one is methane, that is due to biogenic, that is caused due to the animals poops and everything, and also from the waste materials that can be burnt off due to the burning of biomass due to the agricultural field, and these are the main causes of methane production. And the second one is nitrous oxide. As I have shown here, it is also a biogenic source that comes from the agricultural field, burning of biomasses, burning of fossil fuels and everything. The next one is carbon monoxide, that is anthropogenic, that is caused due to the development of machineries or development of converting the fossil fuels and everything, whereas the most of the species that has been emitted out is carbon monoxide. The next one is ozone. Ozone is nothing but photochemical. This is caused due to the reaction between the chlorine activation and sunlight along with the oxygen molecules at the atmosphere. Next one is halocarbons. This is nothing but anthropogenic due to the developmental scenarios. So here, as I have shown here, the gases that makes up far less than 1% of the atmospheres usually have much greater influence on both short-term weather and long-term climate. The less abundant gases all have an important property, that is like hydrogen dioxide, carbon dioxide, methane, sulfur dioxide, nitrous dioxide. These gases usually have the ability to absorb the thermal energy that has been emitted by the earth and thus are able to warm the atmosphere. This warming is what is popularly called as greenhouse effect. Here, these gases are usually called as greenhouse gases, as without them the surface of the earth would be about 30 degrees Celsius cooler and far too cold for life as we know it to exist. On the other hand, these greenhouse effect gases are so thermally potent that even proportionality small amounts can cause Earth's lower atmospheric temperature to rise. This is what we always speak about. That is, whenever there is a drastic change in the emission of greenhouse gases, what happens in the sense the Earth's climate gets warmer, and what we are going to face is melting of ice that happens, and the increase in level of sea. So sea level rise, melting up of icebergs, all happens due to these kinds of larger emission of greenhouse gases. So this is the absorption of energy by the greenhouse gases, because I want you all to know what happens as the radiation happens. So before that, you guys have to know how much absorption of greenhouse energy has been carried out by the greenhouse gases. Here, as I have shown you, this is dependent upon the graph percentage of incoming radiation observed, which has been compared with that of the wavelength of the atmospheric particles. The first initial one that I have shown here is atmosphere, that is about 5 to 10 power minus 7, and the next one is water vapor, which comprises about 10 power minus 6, and the next one is carbon dioxide, as I have shown here, is about the extreme condition 10 power minus 7, and the next is oxygen, nitrous oxide, and methane. Here you guys can see a split up, that is until 10 power minus 7 the rays that has been observed is infrared radiation, and at the middle, that is 5 into 10 power minus 7 is visible radiations, and the last one that can be observed is UV radiation. As you guys can see, the most amount of UV radiation that can be trapped upon is by the carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide plays a major role in trapping up of energy that could be helps us to maintain the heat around the atmospheric surfaces, because it will help us to maintain the warmth of the earth or globe. So also this carbon dioxide that helps us to trap the energy will help us to maintain the weather getting fluctuated. So we don't want our earth surface to face a fluctuated weather, we want a common one. That is why we always say it as weather. So whenever there is a fluctuated change, it means that there is a climatic change that has been impacted due to the emissions of carbon dioxide in a larger area, because the limit that has to be reached has to be always maintained. If it reaches the over limited ratio, then it will drastically leads us to global warming. So this is what I have prepared for today's class. See you at the next class. Thank you.